So we've all gone through problems, we've all gone through really difficult times, and I gotta be truthful, when I go through problems, it's usually like, God help me out, get me out of this, right? And then when he doesn't, we kind of get a little upset. So I wanted to give you, I read this verse and I was like, wow, this is what Jesus said when he knew he was going to be crucified, because he can see the future. So he knows he's going to be crucified, he's going to be tortured, he's going to be beaten, he's going to be humiliated, he's going to be spat on. His enemies are going to ridicule him. And this is what he had to say about that. It isn't that he's going through problems, it's that he knows he's going to go through these difficult times. His response to all that pain and humiliation was basically, Father, if you're willing, take this cup from me, which is, the pain, the cup of all this pain and humiliation and stuff. Yet not my will, but your will be done. In other words, he didn't say, God, get me out of this. He said, God, get me out of this if it's your will. But if you think I have to go through this, let your will be done. That's how we should do when we have problems, is we should say, you know what, God, let your will happen. Because if this hadn't happened, what life would we have now? We wouldn't be saved. We'd be living in the old rules. So, some things have to happen, and it's for God's will. God's will was for Jesus to come, be crucified, and save the world from their sins, right? We sometimes don't see that. We have limited perspective on things, but we have to trust that God's will is going to be done. Psalms 50:22 talks about giving thanks for the good and the bad. You give thanks because God blesses you, and that's easy. Non-Christians do that. The difficult part comes when you give thanks for bad things. And here's why I give why I give thanks for bad things. Maybe it'll apply to you somehow. My daughter, who is 5 now, when she was 3 around, she broke her leg, and I was like, why would God allow this child to break her leg, right? But here's why is what played in my mind, what allowed me to accept it. Is, alright, let's say when she grows up, she becomes this, really awesome cheerleader, and she becomes lost in the world, with pride and with, bad things. But then God sees that, and he kind of rewinds the clock, and he's like, you know what, your leg's gonna break, and then you won't be that individual, right? I'm not saying that that's exactly why it happened, I'm just saying that's potentially why it could have happened. God knows exactly why it happened, I don't, because I can't see the future. But you got to trust that God's will is going to be done, because he allows things to happen only to help us, to strengthen us. His goal isn't to make us happy in this life, so sometimes we have to go through difficult times. His goal in this life is to get you to heaven. And if that means going through a little pain, then so be it. And here's another way of seeing it, is for those of you that haven't really gone through a lot of difficulty, a lot of pain in your life, is, you go through living through life, and then as soon as something happens, like you break a nail, you get a flat tire, you lose it. Oh, I can't believe this happened to me, on a Tuesday. It's a really difficult time, right? For other people who've gone through really difficult times, and I'm talking really like, your family members got killed, you went through difficult times growing up, you barely had food, I'm talking suffering, you had to eat out of garbage cans. Some people have gone through that. And for those people, a flat tire is like a walk in the park, man. It's just sometimes difficult things have to happen to strengthen us, right? To make us better. And I'm not saying because bad things haven't happened, God isn't using you. I'm just saying different things happen to different people for different reasons. And you have to accept that it's God's will, not your will. It isn't what you want in this life. It's what God wants for you in this life. And again, the ultimate goal isn't to make your day a sunny walk in the park. It's to make sure that you get to heaven. And you just have to accept things happening in your life for certain reasons. God knows everything. He sees the future, he sees the past, and he knows exactly not only what has been spoken or acted upon by people, but what has been thought and what has been, instilled in their hearts. He knows exactly everything about everyone and everyone that has existed and will be. And we have to accept that God's plan is just amazing for us if we allow him to help us in our lives. So, hopefully that helped you out. That's kind of the perspective I have on it. Can't make it over 5 minutes because then you might not click on this video. I have some other videos though that are pretty cool, so click on them. Until next time.